Hello and welcome to the next installment of Playing Your Best Pickleball. In this video we're going to talk about the ready position. It's an area of the game that creates some confusion. We get a lot of questions about what exactly the ready position is. In this video we're going to tell you how to get into the best ready position for your game and give you our recommendation on how to do it. Let's get into it. Hello, my name is Tony Roy from Into Pickle, and with my partner CJ Johnson, we are Pickleball. We help pickleball players of all levels achieve their best pickleball success on the courts. In this video, we're going to talk about three different things. First, we're going to talk about the ready position. What is it and why you need it? Second, we're going to go over the different options of the ready position. Then we're going to talk about something that a lot of players don't think about the ready position, so make sure you stay tuned for that. There's a part of the ready position that you may not know, and this will help you get into a better ready position. And the last part of the video, we're going to give you our recommendation at WeArePickleball on how to get into the best ready position for you. What is the ready position and why is it an important part of your game? The ready position is exactly what it sounds like. It is being in a position from which you can be ready to hit the next ball that comes your way. The next ball that comes from your opponents, you're going to be ready to hit that ball. Why you want a good ready position? It's because you want to be able to react early to balls and hit balls early and out in front. You also don't want balls to get past you or be late on a shot, or worse yet, have the ball hit you. And the ready position can help you make sure that you're in the best position possible to deal with whatever your opponents have in store for you. When pickleball players talk about the ready position, most of them are referring to their paddle, where their paddle was. So when you see a situation where a player got slammed with a ball, usually the response by the player who got slammed is, I did not have my paddle ready, or it wasn't ready. And what they're generally talking about is their paddle not being in the right position. The ready position, however, it's more than just where your paddle is. There's three different components to the ready position. And if you're familiar with WeArePickleball, we do the 3 pillars of pickleball, or we use the 3 pillars of pickleball to build a player's game. This is the mechanical pillar, the first pillar of the 3 pillars. And the mechanical pillar has 3 components to it. So you have basically your relationship foot to court. You have your relationship of your foot to shoulder, which is your body and how that works. And then you have the relationship shoulder to paddle, which is your paddle position and how you're moving your paddle. If you're not familiar with the 3 pillars of pickleball, I highly recommend that you become familiar with them if you really want to improve. I'll link below to a guide that we offer at WeArePickleball. It's a free guide you can get called the 3 pillars of pickleball. It'll help explain them to you and you can apply them to your game. All right, so let's look at the options for the ready position, starting with the feet. What you're trying to avoid in terms of your feet in the ready position is you're trying to avoid being on your heels. So here I'm exaggerating a little bit. I'm going to lift my toes up a little bit. This would be really hard to move out of this position. Obviously, you're not going to stand like this. But if you're standing like this, back into your heels, even with your toes on the court, it's going to be really difficult to move out of this position. You're basically going to have to rotate up into the balls of your feet and then move. So generally speaking, with the ready position, you're trying to keep your weight in the balls of your feet, or at least somewhat in the balls of your feet. You'll see some players that really exaggerate that, and they'll be like this, really engaged in the balls of the feet. As long as you have the weight off of your heels, normally you're going to be fine in a ready position and be able to move out of the position that you're in to get a stress dink or react to a shot or cover a lob or whatever you need to do. But being up in the balls of your feet is going to really help that. So option number 1 on your feet, make sure that you have your weight engaged up in the balls of your feet. Another aspect of the feet is how far apart you want them, how wide you want them. Normally, about shoulder width or a little bit shoulder width is going to be plenty apart. You'll see some players that'll play farther apart like this. The difficulty with playing farther apart like this is you have to, if you're going to move, you're going to have to come out of that position in order to move. Players who play like this, a lot of times what you see is they basically crouch down like this. Some pro players will do this, they'll play like this, but they're really reaching for a lot of balls. They're trying not to move as much. So if you're going to play like this, you're probably going to be sort of anchored down, and then you're going to be trying to lean towards balls. If you're not going to lean towards balls, then having your feet about shoulder width apart or a little bit farther apart is going to be perfectly fine for your ready position. If you're a pickleball player looking to improve, make sure you subscribe to our channel so you get notified of future videos. And when you're ready, make sure you check us out at WeArePickleball.com. We'll give you all the tools you need to take your pickleball to the next level. Once we understand how our feet are going to be in the ready position, next we have to figure out the connection between the feet and the shoulder, which is our body. So there's a couple of different options here, a few different options here. One that you'll see basically players enter this kind of a squat position. So they'll basically stand up at the NVZ like this in a squat position. For me personally, that's not a very comfortable position, so I don't do the sort of the kind of full squat position. You could also come up a little bit like this, or call it a semi-squat position, or you could do a semi-squat, which is what I prefer, which is basically having my weight into my knees a little bit, kind of where I can spring a little bit. I have my weight forward into my balls of my feet, like we mentioned on the foot part of the ready position. So basically a semi squat works for me. The key here is to have your body in an engaged position so that you're ready to move. What you don't want to do is have your body in sort of a flaccid or kind of unengaged position where your muscles aren't engaged, and then you have to engage them to move. And also, if you have your knees locked like this, standing up like this, even if your weight's forward, it's not going to be you're not going to be quick to move, quick to react. So what you want to do is have your body in an engaged sort of position, whether you want to go all the way down into a squat, semi-squat, or even higher like I do. All those will work fine as long as your body is engaged and ready to move. Make sure you stay tuned. At the end of the video, we're going to give you our recommendation on the right ready position for you. Now that we know what to do with our feet and our bodies, let's talk about the paddle. That's what everybody wants to talk about when you talk about ready position. So let's talk about the different options that are available to you with your paddle position. And there's really a few different options here that you can do with the paddle. And I'm going to use my paddle right-handed for a minute, and then I'll go left-handed to show you the different options. Usually what you're talking about here is you're talking about paddle position relative to like a clock, right? So the old school style for right-handers was 9 o'clock. So the paddle pointing towards 9 o'clock on a clock. And basically, the idea was to expose the backhand side out to the court like this. The idea being that I could defend a lot of shots with this backhand side. For a left-handed player, it would be 3 o'clock, so it's the same thing. But basically what I'm doing here is I'm putting it out like this. This would be like Coach Mo and kind of old school thinking about pickleball. I don't mean in a bad way, just kind of the traditional way of thinking about it was hold the paddle out like this and defend. Then there was another sort of school of thought that came in, which was basically like 12 o'clock. That'll be 12 o'clock whether you're left-handed or right-handed. And basically what you're doing there is you're holding the paddle to track the ball. So what you're doing is you're using the paddle sort of like a sight on a bow and arrow or rifle or something. And what you're doing is wherever the ball is, you track the ball with the paddle, the top of the paddle, and you keep it aligned with the ball. That's a 12 o'clock option. After that, they kind of came to the 10 o'clock if you're right-handed, 2 o'clock if you're left-handed. So basically, you're not at 9 or 3, you're a little bit farther over. The idea being that I'm still favoring the backhand side, and we'll talk about that in a second, backhand versus forehand, but basically I'm still favoring the backhand side of the paddle more than the forehand, but I have it a little bit this way so that if it comes on my forehand side, I can get it around faster. After that, it became 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. So the current thinking on this is basically 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock are probably the optimal positions. What that does is it basically allows the backhand side to still be featured, if you will. So I can get it to the backhand side faster than I could if I had it at 12 or over here. And but I can still get it over to the forehand side quicker than I could at 10 or at 9. So obviously the farther I have it over to my backhand, the longer it's going to take me to get it over to my forehand. That's going to could be problematic, right? But if I put it at the 11 o'clock here or the 1 o'clock here for a left-hander, then I can basically still favor the backhand side, but I can get it around to the forehand side if I need to. All right, so it's time to talk about a part of the ready position that you may not have considered and is not often talked about. What a lot of players have done historically in pickleball is they hold the paddle out like this. So basically they hold the paddle up here, and you'll see videos on ready position with players holding the paddle up here like this. And that used to be the traditional way of holding the paddle was up at this level, around chest level, around here was about the normal height for holding your paddle in the ready position. The problem with holding the paddle up here in the ready position is that you are holding it in an area where you're kind of wasting some of the space of it or some of the movement of it. If I'm holding my paddle at this height on a ready position, what happens is any ball that's pretty much from here up, I shouldn't defend anyway. So if it comes hard from here up, I probably should be letting those balls go. So having the paddle here, I can defend down okay, but the up motion the up part of it is kind of wasted. So the current thinking about the ready position is instead of holding it up here, is to hold it a little farther down, maybe like around the belly button or down the waist area, so around here. The idea being from here, I can still defend up to the shots that I want to defend, so I can still defend balls here, but I can also defend balls here faster, and I can defend lower and I can defend the zone that I want to defend in a way that makes more sense than holding it up here, because then I have to make it all the way down here on a low one, but I don't really want to move it up. So consider, if you're working on your ready position, consider if you're holding the ready position or the paddle up at your chest, consider bringing it down a little bit if you want, to give yourself the maximum range of your paddle movement in order to defend those hard balls coming your way. Before we give you our recommendation on the ready position, let us know in the comments below whether you're using the 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. What position are you using on the ready position? Are you using forehand or backhand? And let us know what position and why down in the comments. All right, so what's our recommendation for you in your ready position? Our recommendation is that your body be engaged and ready to receive the next ball. What we mean by that is that your weight should be into the balls of your feet, not back in your heels. Your body should be engaged, not standing up like this, kind of too relaxed, and that your paddle not be at your side or in front of you like this, something like that. So what you want to do is if you want to hold your paddle like this, that's fine. You want to hold your paddle like this? Fine. Here? Perfect. No problem. Whatever. As long as it's somewhere up in this zone, ready to receive the next ball, that's fine. What you want to do is avoid having your paddle like this and your body like this and not really ready at all, because you're going to get hit with the ball and not be ready for the next shot. Paddle out and ready, you'll be good to go. What we do recommend though is don't play pickleball standing like this.